So you're going to sell your house. There's some things you got to do, and we're going to run through them today. First off, start out the outside. Start at the outside. I'm so sorry. Guess what? The old adage about people make up their mind when they pull up to your house, they really do. Studies have indicated in the first 30 to 45 seconds, people know whether they really have an interest in a house or not. They walk up, they see the yard. So let's start on the outside. Put some mulch down. Put the flowers in. Rip out that shrub that's way too big. You know what? Maybe you need a paint job. Maybe the garage door's got a little rust on it that needs to be taken care of. Guess what? You need to put your trash can away. That's right. Put your trash can away. People know there's trash service. You don't need to advertise it with a trash can. Put it in the backyard. Put it behind the fence. Put it in the garage. You don't need a trash can to help sell your house. What you need is they pull up and think, oh, this is nice. Somebody's paying attention. And then you walk up and take a look. Tell you what, here's something you need to do. Take a look at your front door. You don't notice it anymore. Is it scratched? Is it faded? Is the finish bad? Because if it is, when people walk up and they see that, or they see the handle is all tarnished and nasty, they're going to think to themselves, I wonder if this is how they take care of the rest of the house. But if your front door is fresh and the handles are clean and the windows are done, guess what? They're thinking to themselves, now here's somebody who's paying attention. At least they got prepared to sell their home. So walking up, doing the outside, that seems to make sense. We talk about that all the time. But let's open the door. Now, you may want to not talk about this, but I'm just going to tell you. First thing you want to ask and get some friends to come in and be honest with you that love you and are willing to hurt your feelings and say, does my house smell? Does my house smell? I cook salmon every night and my house smells like salmon. Does it smell like salmon? You know, when people walk into a place, there are things that trigger them. Smells are one of them. Think about this. There are certain smells that trigger your childhood good memories. There are certain things that happened and you were doing something. And yeah, I mean, the theory is, bake some cookies and make it whatever. But you know what? It's not baking the cookies that's going to sell the house. What it is being sure that your house doesn't have a smell that everybody else is going, well, that's not me, or it couldn't be me. So find out what's going on with your house when it comes to smell and do what it takes. Maybe you need to have the carpet cleaned. Maybe you need to have the dog bathed. Maybe you need to paint the walls because, you gave up smoking 10 years ago, but it still kind of smells like smoke and people aren't wanting that. Yeah, you're going to have to do some work and investigate how that is. But I want to tell you something. It's well worth it. The other thing that you're going to want to do when it comes to just simple everyday thing is please clean your house. Clean your house. I'm not talking about clean up. Yeah, we hear about decluttering and we see all the shows on HGTV where they say declutter your house and take this and put out that front. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But what I want to talk about is clean your house. Because a clean house is a comfortable house to people who have never been in it before. Here's the things I see when I walk into houses that drive me crazy. One is a stove that hasn't been properly scrubbed. Now, look, I hate scrubbing this stove. And I'm going to make a change here, but I've got one of the ceramic cooktops and I cannot stand it because I cannot keep it clean. And yeah, I clean it every night after dinner, but I tell you what, there's some spots that I don't spend 2 hours on. And if I'm going to sell my house, I need to get those off. I need to go down to the hardware store and I need to buy the stuff and I need to do my little scrubbing thing and I need to be sure that it's done. I need to polish it because, yeah, it may have been on there for 3 weeks or I may have gotten used to it, but it needs to come off because you want your stove to look right. You want the stove to look like something that they would want to use. Clean your oven. How about this? Dust your baseboards. Dust your blinds. Get up there and wipe off the ceiling fan because they may not notice it directly in their head, but they'll feel it. So clean your house. So you've got a great front yard. You've got a great front door. The house smells just fine. And now the house is clean. What next? Well, let's start off with the thing. We went back to decluttering. This is my house. And if I were going to sell this house, I would declutter. I look at what's behind me right here. This is what's important to me. This is things that I look at every day and I walk by every day and they do something for me. But you know what? If I'm going to sell my home, I would declutter and I would change some things out because what I want in my house every day is not what will sell it. So you do that with the shelves. You do that with closets. Straighten up your closets. Actually take some clothes out so the closet looks better. You know those shoes, they're your spring shoes and your summer shoes and it's middle of winter. Pack them up in a box and stack them in the garage. That's right. Declutter your house, but not just declutter items, declutter furniture. It's crazy when you walk into somebody's den and you see their couch couch and you see their love seat and you see the 2 recliners and they're all shoved around a table, that's too big, but that's all right because everybody sits there and eats dinner and that's how they live. But that's what makes the room look small. Sorry, it's time to get rid of some furniture. Stick it in the garage. Rent something. Make your house look as large and as welcoming as it can be. The goal is people can see themselves there. You want them to walk in a room and notice the room, not notice that, oh, there's a couch, a love seat, and 2 recliners. So declutter furniture and put things away and clean up your closets. The other thing is you need to go ahead and do the things you need to do. You need to go ahead and spend the money. Now, don't spend too much like we've talked about in other videos, but I'll tell you what, do what you need to do. If your paint needs to be updated, if you need to get rid of a color or you need to get rid of the fingerprints on the wall, get rid of them. Because here's what's going to happen. If your house has those issues and you haven't paid attention, nobody's really going to want to buy your house because right now people are really sensitive. They won't overpay, but they also want a house that they can move into and don't have to spend $3,000 on. You know why? Interest rates are killing them. Interest rates are killing them and housing prices are up 20-30% since they were looking last time 2 or 3 years ago. So you want to go ahead and do those things. Yeah, you may spend $7,000 on paint and you may not get it all of it back. But you know what you may do? You may sell your house for $4,000 more and sell it a month sooner, which means you break even. And you get to go on and move to your next city, move to your next location, move into town if you're wanting to move into town, or move to the burbs because you got to have a yard. That's right. Do the things you got to do. Have that carpet re-scratched or cleaned. Or, you know what? Go ahead and put in carpet. And you say, well, I think people would rather choose their own carpet. No, not really. Yeah, when you're sitting there and you're looking, you've got all these choices, people like it. But you know what? Most people want to move into a house with a carpet that works. That's all they need. They just need a carpet that'll work with their stuff. There's lots of neutral, great carpets. Don't buy a cheap, crappy one. Don't buy the most expensive one. Don't buy the one that you would buy if it was you. Buy the one that's going to make your house look like everybody else's houses with clean, decent carpet at a price that makes sense. Absolutely. Last, you know what? When you go to the backyard, if you haven't done anything with the backyard, do something with it. Clear off the porch. The grill that sits out there that's got the cover on it, halfway done, go ahead and cover it up. Maybe you ought to wash down the deck and the patio. Maybe you ought to scrub the light fixture outside that's got 17 years worth of bugs in it, because this is the last impression they're going to make before they walk through the house, and that is they're going to walk in the backyard. And right now in this world, the reason people are buying houses is they want a backyard. They really do want a backyard. That's right. So why not go ahead and do what needs to do? Get the weed eater out. It doesn't have to be fancy. Oh, and here's another thing that you really ought to think about. There's this thing called weed and feed. If you know you're going to sell your house in 6 or 7 weeks and it's green outside, get the right weed and feed. Now be sure and get the right kind for your grass that you have, and weed and feed your yard. It'll kill the weeds, it'll green the grass, and all of a sudden your house looks better, and all it did was cost you $22 an hour. That's right. It's the simple things you need to do. Don't ignore the big things. If you need paint and carpet, do paint and carpet. But take care of things. Walk through your house, see what needs to be done, and just address them. If you don't have the money, get with somebody and find out what they think is most important. There's a lot of things online. You can go and look on how to get your house ready to go, but you don't necessarily have to spend a ton of money. But I want to tell you, taking the time to do something will always make it worth it. Even if you don't do anything but get rid of the junk you have and make your house look as great as you possibly can and smell as great as it possibly can and things to be as neat as it possibly can, it'll make all the difference. So be sure and take a look at one of my other videos, which talks about the worst thing you can do when it goes to sell your house rather than things you should be doing. Take care.